Hey guys, it's Justin. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to talk about waiting. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. If you can't already tell, I'm sick or on the verge of. No, I would say I'm sick by now. This is my third real day kind of dealing with it. It was started with a sore throat, and now it's like congestion. And I have like a neti pot, and also my fingers are painted for a show that I'm in. That's just in case y'all get distracted by that. But uh yeah, I use like a neti pot and stuff, and it's helped, but it still isn't gonna get rid of it fully. But I just wanted to come on here and make a video. I didn't have this planned or anything. I'm the show that I'm in that I'm talking about is Jesus Christ Superstar. It's it's a good show, like the music and everything, but if you've seen it before, then you might know what I'm going to say. But if you haven't, there's a lot of things that they take creative liberty on that aren't biblically accurate. But what am I going to do? Regardless, I just got finished with that show like tonight. Tonight was our second night doing it, and I came home and it's 10:50 right now, and I was like, I just felt like I wanted to make a video on here because of just what I've been experiencing lately, and I just felt like there's other people that might be going through the same thing I am, and I just wanted to go in here and talk about what it looks like to be in the waiting season of your life as a Christian. This video might be a little bit different compared to what other types of videos like this that I've done where I sit down and just talk to you guys about Jesus and everything, and of course I am still doing that, but me doing this is also my way of reaffirming for myself how, regardless of everything that I am dealing with or have dealt with since August of this year, Jesus is still Lord and still active and very, very present in my life. So, that out of the way, I just wanted to say that from the beginning of this, this has been probably the hardest semester of my college life. If you don't know, I am a senior going for a Bachelor in Fine Arts and Musical Theater. And I am in my second to last semester. I graduate in technically 4 months. It's November now, but I'm not really in school through most of December. So if you want to count that, then sure. But I'm counting like the times that I'm actually in school. So we're a week away from whenever I get to go on break for Thanksgiving. And yeah, this semester has just been a whirlwind of emotions. It has been hard. It has been challenging on my mind. It has been a lot. I mean, from the beginning of it, my roommate that I used to live with is no longer attending the school that I'm at, and I'm living alone for the first time ever in my life. I moved here with the intent that we both be like, living here the whole time and everything, and that obviously has changed. And at first, it was really difficult. And then there was a time when this happened like right as soon as the semester started, almost like a few weeks in. Uh, so it has been like, there's times where I've enjoyed it, and then there's times where it's been difficult, where I like the quiet, and then there's times when I have wanted like anything but quiet. I have had, not trying to get too like personal with my life and everything. There's been losses in my family. I'm not really talking a lot with the people that I used to talk a lot with, and it's just, I don't know, it's just been normally, there's difficulties and stuff, but I just have felt sort of alone, and I know I'm not, because I have Jesus. That is like I say in my other ones, that is the one thing that people who are unbelievers, that is the one thing that they have, is when they go through tough times. The difference between an unbeliever and a believer is an unbeliever, what the heck, an unbeliever, when they're going through any sort of struggle or adversity or issue in their life, they are facing it alone. They don't have Jesus or anything. They don't know him. But people who are Christians, they have God. And that has been something that I personally have to hold on to and believe a lot recently, especially because of, just like I said, everything that's been happening in my life. So that being said, I feel like I am really in the waiting portion of my life. And I've always heard people say that, when I had been to church and everything. Sorry if my hair looks like a mess. Sorry, that's a sidetrack. But I had a hat on during the show and stuff. So, but I've heard people talk a lot about, you're in the waiting season. You're in the waiting, and I'm just like, okay, like I know what that means, but like I've never really experienced that. Now I really think I have, because it feels like there's so much happening around me, but yet I am sitting here not really in the middle of it, if that makes any sense. Things that used to steal a lot of my attention aren't really stealing my attention anymore. And I feel like I am just kind of isolated away from all of that. I'll touch more on the isolation part in a minute. But yeah, I just feel like I'm sort of like in the in-between seasons of my life right now. But even if I feel that way, I have to, and people who are dealing with any like emotion that is similar to this as well or feeling, I have to remember that Jesus is still at the forefront of it, no matter what I'm going through. There is no such thing as a time when he is not present. You know, he's always there. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and forever. The first bit of scripture that I wanted to share with you guys was Psalm 37, verse number 7, which reads, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes." Especially recently, I have sort of looked around at people in my life who seem to be more joyful than I am, even if they are living for the world. And it's been confusing, I guess, to say the least. But you know, because I'll look at them and they're doing complete opposite things than I am, and yet they're succeeding and they seem to be joyful. But I've said this countless times in these videos, that sort of temporary joy gets you nowhere. And I know that every single one of us has a Jesus-shaped hole in our hearts that only he can fill. No other joy, no other accomplishment, no other friendship, no other relationship, none of those things can fill that hole in our hearts besides a true intimate relationship with the creator of the universe. So even if they appear to be joyful, let me rephrase that. Even if they appear to be happy, because you can be happy. I'm sure there are plenty of people who are unbelievers and they're happy, but to truly know God is to truly know joy and love. Seek those things before you're seeking other things of the world. And I have this posted up on my wall. And as I was preparing to, for what verses and everything, I was reminded of it. It says, "Our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at things in life that don't really matter." I obviously wrote that on my wall for a reason. Whenever I did write it, it was like a year ago at this point. But, I just am constantly reminded of how true that is. Even if I don't realize it. When I just looked up there and saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, there was a reason I wrote that on there. And I just think, like, I'm graduating in 4 months, and a year from now, my whole life is going to be different again. I'm not going to be living where I am. Our lease is up in May. And, I'm going to be done with college, and I won't be returning to school ever. That is so strange to me that, like, this is my last, like, Christmas, like, in college, like, ever. Or, sorry, in school, ever. Like, I'm not going for my, master's or anything. So, I don't know. It's just such a strange feeling, and I know my life will look different. And, talking on the, succeeding at things in life that don't really matter, I think this is the first time I've ever really come to realize this, was since everything that's been happening this semester, since all of those things have been stripped away, I'm sort of reminded now, as I'm saying this, of the story of Job, of how everything was taken from him and God still wanted to test to see if he would be faithful or not. And not to say that anything that I'm going through is as dramatic or anything as him or as his story, but I think for the first time, it has made me have to face where my priorities lie. I've had to reprioritize my life and come to realize that when I'm out of school, what is it that I really, for so long, and I've said this to my family as well, for so long, I have just been kind of doing things for the sake of the fact that other people are doing them or telling me to do them as well. School, going to try to get my musical theater degree, all these things that people are telling me to do, and they're doing, and if I don't do it, I feel behind and everything. I have really only ever done those things not out of the sake of like I really truly want that, more so of like, okay, well, I guess this is the next step I have to take. But now that I'm graduating, it's like all of those thoughts are going away. And it's like, okay, then what do I do? Because there's no more next step. It's like you get a job and then you work, pretty much. So it's just been really difficult. And I've had to kind of realize that I can't have a lust for fame anymore. That feeling of like, I gotta be, on Broadway, or I gotta be in a movie, or all these things that people who want to do this as their profession, like theater, acting, all this stuff, all these things that people put that as their top priority. And I need to have Jesus as my top priority. The point I'm saying is, after all these other things have changed in my life, and after other things have been taken away, and I've been left to sit alone, especially in my apartment, I've realized that as those things have been taken away, that Jesus is the only thing that remains. And that's how it always has been. But it is so much more like, it is so much more visible now than it was when I had all these other, distractions in my life. And I think that is a way for me to see this sort of waiting period as a blessing, because I don't know if I would have realized that, hey, maybe this is not what I'm called to do. Am I really living for God if I'm going to school for this and then hoping to be on Broadway or whatever the heck? Am I really doing what God's will is for my life, or am I putting my desires ahead of his? The second verse that I want to share with you guys today is 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14. It says, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" Because I have distanced myself from a lot of the relationships that I used to have with some people, that has been one of the hardest things that I have had to deal with. And I understand that is my own doing, because I chose to do that. And it is nothing against those people. It is not, that verse is, let me be clear, that verse is not saying you cannot be friends with unbelievers. I have many friends that are unbelievers. What it is saying is that you are not to be influenced by people who are bringing you further and further away from God. So I had to sort of look at areas of my life where I hadn't fully surrendered to him. And unfortunately, I feel as though that did come with pulling away from a lot of the people that I used to see almost every single day. I feel like that has also been difficult because it has forced me to feel isolated. And I know that that's not what the latter is. It's not pull away from people and have no friends. You're supposed to become really close with people who are Christians, who are close to God, who can bring you closer to him. So for me to not have that yet, it also feels like I'm in the waiting, because I have just been so, I've prayed a lot to God about how I want community, and I have been going to church a lot. I always do, but I've been going to, there's this thing at my church called connection groups, and I've been trying to get more involved and get to know more people. And it's just been really hard. It's made me feel like I'm isolated. And I know that that's not what the Bible tells us not to be isolated. It says that it's not good for mankind to be alone. So again, I just feel like I'm in the waiting. But even if I do not have that immediate close group of friends right this second, that does not mean that you are by ourselves. There is a God who loves us. There are people who love us and who call us valuable, who call us worthy even if we're not. There are friends and family who love and care about us more than we could possibly know. And God should still be that top priority, that father, that ultimate person in your life who you can turn to for everything. He is your best friend. But I have, like I said, I have waited on this for a while now. So it is just, I say for a while, I mean, it's been months, so I mean, it is a while, but yeah, I don't know. That's just why it's also been difficult, because I just have felt lost at times after I just kind of have to sit and wait. If, I'm not at rehearsal and stuff, it would be like, oh, let me come home and just watch a movie for the thousandth time. And I just wanted that feeling back of being known, but I am known by God. So all that being said, even though I feel like I'm in the waiting portion of my life, I think I'm also just reaching a point where I am ready to graduate. My mom especially has made this come to my mind a lot, because I've always been so quick, like I said earlier, to follow in other people's footsteps because that's what they're doing, and because everybody's telling me you're burning daylight, you know, you should be hurrying to go to school, you should be hurrying to get this job, to do this, to better your life with all of that. But my mom has put this into perspective and helped me realize that I am 21 years old, and for my entire life I have been going to school since I was like in kindergarten, sorry, pre-K to 12th grade to 4 years in college. I didn't take any gap years. I did all of my semesters, like, you know, there's some people who take like a few classes in a semester to like slow everything down, you know. No, I was taking like class after class after class after class, and I graduated in the time that I was supposed to, and that's great. You know, a 4 year degree, a lot of people take more than that 4 years to get that degree because they just like to take their time, but I have not done that. So she's also helped me realize, you know, I have not really had a time to sit back and think about, okay, what do I do? Because I keep saying, everybody has just been everybody else has been what's influenced me to make my next move. And now that I'm not going to have that soon, it has required me to think for myself and just trust that God has something in store for me. The creator of the stars and the galaxies has a purpose and a destiny for me. So I just want to end this video by asking you all, if you did stay for the full thing, to please just pray for me. And I know I don't ask for that a lot by really anybody. I mean, nobody a lot of the time will ask me if they need me to, if I need prayer, you know. But I just ask that you can pray that I will grow closer to God, and that in this session, or whatever you want to call it, of waiting that I am, that you can help me realize that even if I feel stuck or just weird, out of place. This is a year ago. I was making a video probably titled this exact thing. Or titled that exact thing. I hope that you can pray for me that I will grow closer to God and still find Him even while I'm in this season of my life. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all get something from it. I know, like I said, I obviously had scripture and everything, but a lot of this was just me also talking through it to you guys, because I don't know, I just feel like it's beneficial. There's somebody who will click on this and be like, you know, experiencing similar or the same things that I'm going through. And I hope that they know that it is important to talk about what we're going through, but to still trust that everything works out for a reason, that God puts you in these seasons, this time in your life. All of it happens for a purpose and for a reason. It's to strengthen you and to strengthen His kingdom. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like if you did enjoy it. My next video will probably be, I might do one for my Christmas decor here. I thought about doing that, since you can see behind me I have in my apartment a lot of stuff and new stuff as well. I have a full-size tree up, like to the roof and everything, in a college apartment. Not a dorm, but an apartment. So a lot of people, I feel like, can't say that when they're in college, but I love Christmas, so I'm glad that I had that. So if you guys want to see that, please let me know, and I'll do a decor tour video. But if I don't do that, then you guys will probably see me on Christmas Eve when I do my Christmas Eve vlog. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.